You probably can't tell, but I'm actually upset right now. Our annoying neighbor strikes again. Yes, the annoying neighbor of crayon infamy. The individual of which I made a video 3 years ago now, a little more than 3 years ago, that brought most of you to this channel. And this time, it was deadly, much worse than I imagined. And I'm going to explain all this, and I have the evidence. I've got video evidence. You're going to see it. And this evidence is going to be turned over to the proper authorities first thing tomorrow morning. I'm making this video on a Sunday. So these places are closed, but Monday morning, hey, my family and I are getting ready to take a trip. We're going on vacation for a few days. I won't say where until after we come home. That's just what I do to protect my family. But we've put it off a day or two, and we've left it open to put it off for as long as necessary if I need to be here. Once I've contacted the authorities, should they come in and want to interview us about the death, the destruction. This is truly a tragedy, okay, what this guy did this time. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to show you the proof. I'm going to tell them, and I'm going to show them the proof as well, because this stuff, we can't stand for this stuff, people. This is going to kill us all, not just the deaths that have already have been incurred because of this man's actions from 5 days ago. And there's more than what I just originally thought, which was bad enough. But on my way walking up here, you see this? No, this is not the newly legalized stuff in the state of Virginia. You see these? Wings from dead butterflies. This is a freezer bag filled with dead honeybees, our honeybees. And this is just, I grabbed a couple handfuls. I could have filled 4 of these bags. Within 24 hours, every single honeybee that we have in our hive down there will be dead. And the butterflies, you saw the wings from the dead butterflies. This is just what I just discovered on the way up here, because at the trail, the bottom of the trail down here that leads down to our house, I'm up here at our family campground by the woods, where the trail opens up into the yard. There's an area that's probably 10 yards wide by 20 yards long that is grown up in native milkweed. We intentionally didn't plant trees there when we were going bat crap crazy with planting thousands of trees everywhere. We left that there intentionally as a butterfly sanctuary. And our annoying neighbor in his recent attack killed all the butterflies too, along with our bees. Here's what happened. Okay, I'm not going to draw this thing out for 30 minutes. I'm going to do 18 minutes and 36 seconds, or I don't know. So about 5 days ago, well, we got honeybees this year for the first time ever, because we've planted 40 fruit trees in a fruit orchard down there. We've got 8 apple trees there. We've got 4 back here behind me. It's like 50 trees. We've got blueberry bushes, blackberry vines, raspberry vines, strawberries, a couple different gardens. And we knew that we needed pollinators. There's some out here in the wild in nature with the butterflies and the bumblebees and whatnot and the wild honeybees. But we needed more to get more robust crops from our gardens, from our fruit trees. We need pollinators, okay? So we this year was the year. We got the bees. We paid about $500 for the entire setup with the boxes, buying the bee nuke. A wonderful anonymous donor gifted us an electric fence. It was over a $200 fence. I didn't pay for that. Somebody maybe watching right now did. Thanks. Put all the time into it, and they've done well. But they're within 24 hours of this video being uploaded, every single honeybee we have is going to be dead. And here's why. So about 5 or 6 days ago, it was about 8 o'clock in the morning, 8:30. I was upstairs in my office working, and I heard this loud terrible sounding engine. And it sounded like somebody maybe in a pickup truck without an exhaust system or a muffler was down in the road in front of our house going back and forth as fast as they could. And after about 5 or 6 minutes, I thought, well, I might ought to check this out. What's going on here? So I came outside, 8:34. I looked at my watch, 8:34 in the morning. And I look across the road. That's to the property across the road, okay? I'm going to ignore that for now because this is a pretty serious conversation I'm trying to have here. The annoying neighbor doesn't live across the road. He actually lives a few miles away, but his parents live there, and he farms there. He runs some cattle, got some fields. And as you know, if you'll remember from the annoying neighbor with the crayon story, many properties around here, the landowners let him take their hay. The property owner right on the other side of these trees, this privacy hedge, is one of the people that lets him cut his fields for hay for his cattle. Dude told me last year he didn't want to, says he can't stand the guy. The guy's a bully. We've already covered this, but he admitted to being afraid of him. He's scared of this guy. And I said, dude, just stand up to him. I did. Get a gate. $2,500 solution, but that's because I got the fencing to go down behind it. You could get it done for a heck of a lot cheaper than that if you didn't want the pretty fencing to go. I got the boarded fence to go, but just to make it look nice. Dude was terrified. Listen, you can't do this, and I've got another story, proof in the pudding. The only things bullies understand is being stood up to, and we did it with our crayon. It never had a problem with him since. Until now, having a problem as a byproduct of what he's doing over there. So I hear this engine, this truck engine. I come out and here's this ginormous utility truck. Looked like a deuce and a half from back in the Army. And it had this giant tank on the back. And it was going around through his field with like a spinning type thing on the back, just throwing something out all over the field. It wasn't a liquid, it was a solid. And I assumed it was fertilizer, some sort of fertilizer. Maybe he's fertilizing the field so the grass grows better, so he can get better hay. And I thought, well, that makes sense. And let me point this out. I bear no ill will towards this man or anyone. Okay, I've dealt with annoying neighbors here. Not just him, there were others. There was this other D-bag that used to come around to spew his political views and his world views and take these little passive-aggressive jabs. Couldn't stand the guy when he was coming around. He stopped coming around a couple of years ago. Praise God for small favors. I got no ill will towards him either. I just want to be left the hell alone. That's why I bought 6 acres out in the middle of nowhere. It's that simple. Just stay away, okay? So, with this said though, so the he's throwing out this big truck. It looks like a solid pellet, so I'm thinking fertilizer. But many of you have dealt with pellet form fertilizer or chicken feed or rabbit feed. That stuff crumbles up, and so there was this cloud. It wasn't a mist. It didn't seem to be a liquid, but a cloud, like dust, maybe from those granules, cloud going everywhere. Thought, well, that's great. I hope that does good for his fields there. I hope it makes healthier grass, and I hope it makes for healthier cows. I wish him nothing but the best. To quote Tupac, a prophet who was taken away from us years before he should have been. I think he was 25 or 26 when he got shot. I was in college. Still remember the day. Tupac said, look, just because we're not friends anymore, it doesn't mean that I wish ill upon you. I still want you to eat, just not at my table. That's how I feel. And this guy, he's obviously eating very well. He's eating very well. Well, and then the truck left. It was gone for an hour, and he left with it. He followed it in his car. And then it came back an hour later, and he came up behind it. Probably went to refill, wherever he was getting the stuff. The guy driving the truck was putting stuff on the field. And the guy being an annoying neighbor, an annoying type, of course he's got to go harass the guy. He's got to just harass whoever. Finishes those fields, and then he goes over right on the other side of these trees, but down a little way, and starts doing that field. And I'm like, oh, that's it. He's fertilizing the fields where he cuts his hay. And my wife, Dearly, and I, we're making a video for her channel. So we just moved to the farthest end of our property away from that to minimize the noise. Well, within 48 hours, I can't remember if it was the next day or the maybe 2 days after, but within 48 hours, our bees started acting very strangely. When it gets super hot, and those of you who have bees knows this, you'll see them like, looks like they're swarming up on the outside of the box. But then as it cools down, they go back into the box. Usually within an hour or so after dark, they're all back in the box. The bees were swarming on the box more than we'd ever seen. And they were not going back in. At night, they were staying on the outside of the box. They didn't want to go into the box. Well, another day or so, because this is all happened over a period of about 4 days. So I started noticing a ton of dead bees right there in front of the box. And I thought, and I'm new to this, and a lot of you raise bees. If you think you might know what exactly is going on based upon my story, please feel free to tell me in the comment section. I'm still contacting the authorities. I might be wrong with my assumption, and I hope that I am. But I know this guy's MO. It's me. Not me, but him. Fakes an injury to get disability from the government, brags about it, sues his former employer for firing him for being a peeping Tom after the students who brought his activities to the attention of the proper people. He was fired. After they graduated and left and went back to wherever they're from, he sues UVA, wins, gets a massive settlement. Cattle is not this guy's livelihood. His livelihood is scamming. Bragged to me about taking care of his aged aunt and uncle and getting them to make him the POA, power of attorney, of all of their financial affairs. And then he wrote himself in as the beneficiary of their real estate, and brags about this stuff. And it brags about how he's trying to squeeze his brother and sister out of the property across the road so he can get that all to himself. We're talking about a class act here, folks. Not. This is terrible, but I'm sorry. When you brag about scamming the system, when you brag about taking advantage of aged people who are not in their right mind so you can steal the inheritance of your cousins, and when you brag about how you won in court when they tried to sue you to get mom and dad's house that they grew up in from you, total disregard for anybody but himself. This is what we're talking about, okay? So I noticed all these dead bees, and I'm assuming, well, the electric fence is doing its job. Maybe the possums and the skunks and all these things that might be going in there at night to eat the dead bees, because honeybees die regularly. They come out, but something eats them, birds. Maybe the scavengers aren't getting in there and doing their job because of the electric fence. Maybe they've been shocked enough times. Well, yesterday, this is day 3, right? Our friend Jenny Jo, who recently moved to DC, was down visiting. She spent the night with us. And we tried to make a video on her channel called Jenny Jo. If she's uploaded the video, I'll put it on the end of this one so you can go see that and subscribe to her. It's like, while we got there and there's like a ton of dead bees, and I'm like, something is going on. So I opened the hive up, and it's like 80% of our bees were dead. And within 24 hours of this, they're all going to be dead. I knew around the time that he was spraying, and we're right across the road from where he sprayed, and we're right on the other side of the trees from where he sprayed. There were June bugs, big June bugs like this. They look like Japanese beetles, but they're 4 times that size. They were everywhere in my field. And well, I'm just going to go with like the obvious assumption here that they're probably everywhere in everybody else's field in this neck of the woods too. Based upon this, it appears as if that might not have been fertilizer, or it might not have been just fertilizer, because there are no June bugs here now. And it might have been a combination of fertilizer and pesticide. But folks, this is concerning. If you spray anything on your field and it kills 20,000 bees across the road, something's not right. It kills God only knows how many butterflies right across the road in our butterfly sanctuary. Every pollinator on this property that inhaled that or ingested that, whatever that was, is dead. Okay, and it doesn't end there. I'm showing you those wings because that's all I found. Obviously, something came along and ate the bodies of the butterflies after they died or as they were dying. Now, what would this have been? Birds, perhaps? Just in the last 2 years, we have established a very strong indigo bunting colony up here, population. They're these beautiful birds. They're like metallic, bluish, indigo. It's like a bluish color. Beautiful birds. The sun glistens off of them. If they ate those poison butterflies, they're next. I'm going to be going through this meadow, finding beautiful little dead indigo buntings everywhere. Look, just because I don't like the guy, just because I'm not a fan of a scammer and a fraudster and a manipulator and a taker advantager of her, this isn't about that. This is about this. I'm making the call. And I don't care that this is going on YouTube and he might see it, but he might, hey, guess what? I'm not this guy. I'm not scared. Okay? When I was in high school, back in Appalachian, I loved to trout fish. I would use spin casters. I got into fly fishing. There was a beautiful small stream filled with native brook trout. These tiny, they're actually Arctic chars. They're not a trout. They're called native brook trout. They look like brook trout, but they're a type of char. They're there from the last ice age. Glaciers actually came down into that area. It's the southernmost portion they came, and these little chars came with them. So now from Appalachia up through all the way up, Pennsylvania, Maine, there's these beautiful little fish. There was one stream that I loved the most. Went away to college for a couple of, I finished college, but after I'd been in college a couple of years, came back home to go trout fishing on that stream. When I got on that stream, the water was gray, it was murky, it was cloudy, and there wasn't a single trout in there. I was pissed, not just because I didn't catch any fish, but because somebody was poisoning that stream. I'm not a radical. I am in no way, shape, or form a radical in regard to any aspect of anything, okay? Radicalism is dangerous. But I'm responsible, and I care, and I'm not scared. So I got in my vehicle, and I drove to the tippy top of that stream, and I found the mining company that was mountaintop removing mining, whatever, that had poisoned that stream and killed that entire trout population. I went home, and I was looking up the number for the EPA. My father asked me what I was doing, and I told him exactly what I was doing. He went into a panic. He said, "You better not call those people and report that mining company." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "They will kill you. If they find out who you are, they will kill you." I said, "Dad, I don't care. They've killed every damn trout in that stream. I'm doing it." I made the call. When I made the call, you know what the woman that I talked to on the phone said? She said, "That's it. We're shutting them down. You are the third person in the last 2 weeks who called to report this company. They have a history of this. They're done." Many years after that, about 10 years after that, I went back. I went fishing on that stream, and I caught more trout than I'd ever caught in a single day of my life. I've said this before in other videos, and it's not my original words. It's a quote from a great man. He's no longer with us, but it stands true in this situation. Evil is powerless when the good are unafraid.